Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Crystalline Temple. Grand greetings, grand rising, grand return. Thank you for being tuned in with me at this point in time. Thank you for sharing space. Today I'm going to be sharing my journal SOULAR system. I have been journaling since I was very young. My mother was a huge journaler, and I'm just carrying on the legacy, so to say. I do have a very specific system that I use, and it's very much so something that I have created for myself. And I do advise that you figure out what works for you. Maybe you'll get some ideas from what I'm sharing, and maybe it'll spark something in you to start journaling. And thank you for being with me at this time. So we're gonna get into it. To begin, I'm going to share with you my journal cover. I don't know if you can really see it, but I have my initials stamped on here. I have angel numbers 888, 444, and then on the side I have the Nazarite. This journal cover I made by myself. I went to Hobby Lobby's and I did some razzle dazzle, and I was very proud of how it turned out. So yeah, this part just holds everything together, and if you look here, I have so much space if I wanted to add more journals. This is only round one. Other journals that are not in here are not really priority journals, or I'm just still working on them. So this is what the inside cover looks like. I have a little section here for a pen if I want to use it. And then this cover opens here. And then I also have, hold it this way, stretchies. So I have all of my journals on these stretchies, which comes in handy when you're journaling. I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna begin with my recent journal that I started this about a month ago actually. This one is my moon time journal. And this is, I believe, Isis. I don't know if you can see it very well, let's see. So yeah, this is my moon time journal. I suggest if you are a female, if you don't already have a system outside of just tracking your cycles on a calendar, this is a really good idea. This is a good idea to start a moon time journal. In my moon time journal, I pretty much track my period flow, my reflections, my journey, my revelations during my cycle, my spiritual womb messages, moon phases, when I start my cycle, emotional fluctuations, cycle connections, and linking. So I connect my past cycle with this current cycle. As a female, our cycles actually start the day of our first bleed. I used to think that it was the last day and then my new cycle starts. So no, it's the day of your first bleed is the beginning of your new cycle. And so it's really neat tracking all this and setting your intentions. So I have my May cycle reflections, my flow journey. I write down, I spotted this time, and then I had my flow on this time. And is it in alignment with the new moon? Is it in alignment with the full moon? What astrological sign was the moon in when I began? And then also just reflecting on that cycle. And it evolves more and more. But it's really just learning how you function in this 28-day cycle. It's going to look different for every woman. What do you eat? When you eat these things, how does it make you feel? What is your flow? What are some revelations you've had during this moon cycle? Emotional, energetic, lifestyle shifts that you've made. It makes so much sense in alignment with my journey and just what I go through on a day-to-day basis. Now that I'm in alignment with the new moon, I'm okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. These are the new things. These are the new beginnings. These are the things that I let go. I also have womb wisdom messages. So the week before I start my period, or the week of, I essentially focus on my womb. So I try to do yoga. I like to sit with hape, rose and cacao hape, and really tune into the divine feminine energy. I also really love to do yoni baths, yoni steams, and allowing what comes up from my womb to speak to me and flow. And I get so many messages, and the more that I do this, the lighter my periods and less intense they become. Our cycles, when we bleed, our flow is what shows us and reflects to us how we've been this month. And so really try to pay attention to that. So that's what I keep in this journal. And I'm looking forward to like finishing it and just continuing it and seeing how each cycle connects and what drastic changes happen to like sway my hormones or just my alignment with the moon. My next journal. So if you like this journal, it is on my website. I made this journal myself. This is my design. It's called Phoenix Awakening. So this is a shadow work journal, and the image itself is the shadow work activation. So I call this one my shadow alchemy portal. So in here, I pretty much write down all my heavy emotions, triggers, core wounds, projections, inner child healing, unmet needs, reminding myself like I can transmute my pain into wisdom, reclaim my power, my energy, and my truth. This is a reminder for me that my shadow is not my enemy. It is an aspect of myself that has not been brought to the surface or to the light or into wholeness. I really think it is important to have a shadow work journal where you can also put your confessions, your fears, chaotic dialogues you have in your mind that you might not want to talk to other people about, repressed emotions, patterns, self-sabotage, forgiveness letters for yourself or other people who have hurt you, shadow work archetypes. So like, okay, what voice is this? Whose voice is this? Is this from a childhood, like somebody I heard say this to me? Like being able to identify the heaviness and the dark side of your subconscious mind. This is what this journal is for. Mother wounds, father wounds, abandonment issues, you name it. This is all in here. Very, very personal, but that is another journal that is really important. That I wouldn't say I work in it every day. I work in it as the emotions come up. And the more I work in it, the more I'm like, okay, like I'm at that phase where I'm doing a lot of heavy work versus the times where I'm not really feeling things out. I'm like, okay, I'm like actually integrating. This was a lighter week for me emotionally, etc., etc. So the next journal is one of my favorite journals. Favorite journal of all time. I got this journal in Peru. So it has the Jacana as the 4 sacred directions. It has the 3 sacred journeys. The snake, the unconscious mind, or the underworld. Then we have the jaguar, which is this middle world, the conscious mind, also the very much so the divine feminine. And then we have, I don't think they put the condor on here, but that would have been the highest level, the heavens, or the highest self. Oh yeah, the condor's right here. But what I love about this journal is like you could just take the paper out and reuse it. But I'm gonna keep it in this journal so I can reflect. As you can see, I'm pretty much done with this journal. This journal is my sacred spiritual messages, journeys, and dreams. This includes my meditations, if I sit with plant medicine, if I randomly just have an insight, I write it down in here. It's also kind of like my channeling journal where I'm like, okay, this is like my free flow of like, what is it that I need to know at this time? But it's very, very deep. Very deep. I get some very deep messages. I really want to go back and reflect in this journal because I've written so much, and I got this journal last November, so it was like a gift to myself for my birthday. But yeah, as you can see, it hasn't even been a year, and I'm already like done with this journal. So I'm gonna like keep this one, and I'm gonna use it for my sacred reflections, because sometimes we get in the habit of writing and writing and writing, and we forget what we already received as divine messages. And so it's really important to go through and reflect on things as well. So I'm gonna use this one to reflect in. I haven't moved it out of my journal cover yet because I really just like having it with me. It's very grounding, the energy and the imagery and symbolism of this. But since I'm done with this, this is the one that I will be using for my sacred messages, journeys, and dream work. It is an Om with a lotus on the back. And it has like this beautiful tie to hold everything in place. And I also do like the paper. It's very thick. I feel like it would be perfect for like a watercolor journal just because the papers are really nice. But yeah, I haven't started it yet, but this is replacing this journal, sadly so, in the meantime, until I've caught up on all my reflections. If anything, the most, powerful reflections, or the ones that I need the reminder of, I'm just gonna like rewrite in this journal. The next journal I have, also, this is one that I have created myself. If you're interested, I have, I believe, two left on my store, earthangeltemple.com. This is the prophecy journal. This is actually a piece that I painted myself, and I added some of my stickers to the back as well. This is my 5th dimension portal journal. In other words, people have like manifestation, vision boards. That is essentially this. I have written down my message to the universe. I've added my own little crystals. So if you don't add your crystals to your journal, get some hot glue gun and just add it there. And I have the 12 laws of the universe in the beginning. And then I have the 7 laws of success. And these are reminders for me for when I'm manifesting or I'm stepping into that higher version, that highest timeline of myself, to remember the order of how things flow, so I don't get caught up or self-sabotage or become inconsistent or unproductive with my journaling. But essentially for this one, if you don't know, there's like so many different ways to like create a manifestation journal or whatever, but for me, I start off with dear yada yada, whatever you want to write. So for me, it's dear universe, most high, etc. Then I write down my gratitude. For me, gratitude is the strongest form of abundance. So everything I write in present tense in gratitude. And then I conclude the last section of my letter to say, by divine decree, ... You are commanding with your sovereignty that this is the reality and the timeline that you are living in. And so it's also very much so subconscious. The more you write it, the more you will embody it in the physical. So yeah, this is just my 5th dimensional portal journal. And it has the jaguar, the seraphim, the blue kachina, the condor, and the eagle. It's the Hopi prophecy. And also another like seraphim, but it's a portal. And this is symbolic for the 5th dimension, heaven on earth. The Rainbow Bridge prophecy is also a great prophecy to look into. But once again, if you're interested in this image or this journal, check out my website, earthangeltemple.com. So yeah, these are all the journals I keep in my journal cover. The next journals that I have are I know a lot of people call it like a commonplace journal, but this is essentially like my spiritual commonplace journal. I also just write down things I'm interested in, how to do certain things that I want to remember. This one's about done. This is my tree. I added a piece of labradorite to it. I have cool stickers. This is my front. I probably put the most effort creatively into this journal, which is kind of why I'm sad that it's over. I write down my prayers that I want to remember, cool images, affirmations, the different types of spirit guides, how to connect, the different types of brain waves, my aura. Whenever I do aura readings, I write down the day, the time, what does my aura look like around this time, and I kind of track it. It's something fun I do occasionally. My birth charts, which I don't even want to talk about that. I have mixed feelings about astrology. Some images that I found powerful for myself. Light codes, symbols, the 4 agreements. And then I have like what I want in life. Photo of me and just a few little things that I want to accomplish. Another aura reading later that year. Crazy experiences and spiritual messages that I've had. Wild, like random encounters with people. My journey with Moldavite. I probably won't touch Moldavite for a minute. And then I have a section on chakras. And then connecting to a spiritual team, like the order of how to do so. I have it's just a drawing I did for my business. More about Hape and the different blends and how they make me feel. Then in the very back, I just have a photo of me. And yeah, this is that commonplace journal that has pretty much been through the ringer, but it's been very fun to use and create. This one is my new commonplace journal. I don't know, I have a theme with the trees. Tree of life, you know, my journey of life. And this journal, I'll probably do more like Polaroids, weekly things that I'm obsessed with, weekly fixations, monthly fixations, things that I've watched, some of my experiences, everything commonplace mixed with a hint of diary in there. I personally don't have a diary because I already write enough. So I'm really excited to get into this one, continue the tree legacy. Also, when you're choosing your journals, like, do put intention into it, because you're going to be creating, you know, another aspect of self through this writing form. And it is very powerful and it is very transformational. And it is really important to put intentions into what you write your journals in. I'm not saying be extra. I'm an extra person. I like things that are colorful and symbols, but you can use a basic journal, pen and paper, to write anything you want, you know. The next journal I have is a journal my mom had given me, Scorpio on it. Apparently I'm a Scorpio. Apparently I'm a Libra. I don't know. So this is my song journal. I write down all my songs that I write and produce in this journal. And yeah, that is to keep it simple. So this is with me when I'm creating songs. If I have a song idea or an intro, I will do it on here. Or I'll record it so I can remember how it sounded. But otherwise, this is my song journal. This one is pretty simple. This is like my to-dos, daily, weekly tasks, overview, brain dump journal. Also, I'm thinking of just putting like important things in here. But it's a flip through. You can just tear the pages off, etc. And in the back I have the week ahead stickers, and then I have for today stickies. So I refresh this every week or so, and I go through a lot of these pages. I tear them out if I don't need them anymore, so it's very convenient. And I believe this one is moleskin. Love me some moleskin every now and then. Sometimes it's a bit like, I'm iffy on moleskin only because I feel like none of them have enough pages for me to be paying that much money. That's just me. So the next journal that I have, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it like this. It's been working for the most part. So this is my book of wisdom. As you can see, I wrote it on the wrong side in Sharpie. So this is what it looks like. I have like the tree, I have some art. But yeah, this is the book of wisdom, and I like to write long ways. Horizontally. I like to write horizontally in this one. It's a sketchbook technically. But I write down the wisdom of things I learn, and I dive deep into what I want to do, like my lessons or YouTube videos on how I want to organize things as well. So it's sort of a mixture of this being like the brain dump, but if I need a bigger page, I use this. I have a section on just diving into my favorite topics like stones, a bunch of stuff. So in a way, this is like my personal study book, and I just kind of organize my thoughts here. If I do any type of readings, like I have an Akashic record reading, I'll write it in here as well. Or if I do readings for other people or like collective readings, I'll write it in here so I remember. If I have an idea for a tattoo to go in here, if I'm trying to build a routine, these are brainstorming pages, ideas I use for a little bit of everything, which is nice to have something I don't have to be extremely organized in, and I can kind of just use it for whatever. And then lastly but not least, this one is my poetry journal. I thought of putting my poetry with my songs, but it's really small and I write a lot of poems. And so yeah, I keep all of my original poems in here. And I really do like this journal. Like I said, I don't use these every day. Some of them I'm like consistent with writing in. Some of them are just for that time. That is essentially my journal, SOULAR SYSTEM. There's just so many ways and things you can do to keep organized, and this is just like my personal journal collection. Like I have another collection for my business, and I will actually make another video on that. My goal is to use journaling to organize my mind. I have so many thoughts throughout the day, and if I don't write anything down, I will become anxious, overwhelmed, and then I just won't do anything. When it comes to choosing journals, I try to use every page I can. Even if I'm like, oh, I'm done with this journal, I will still probably like, oh, if I have a blank page, go back and rewrite it. I like to put 100% use to my journals before I even decide on getting a new one. And if they can be reused, especially the cover, then I'll try to do that after I reflect. Moral of the story is, I know I have a good amount of journals, but you really don't need that many, to be real. You really don't. I find that I need organized systems with different topics. I can't just have two main journals and I put everything in. My mind just doesn't like that. That's very like not it for my OCD. So I view all of these as my life class journals. Like for this aspect of my life, I have this journal. For this aspect of my life, I have another. But essentially, it's no different than having a Spanish journal, a journal for math, reading, writing, except for you can have more fun because it's in your control. And ever since I've been journaling, I've been able to heal through a lot of things. I've been able to learn more about myself and know thyself. I've been able to increase my memory, because my memory was struggling for a while. And I've been able to be more grounded and not caught up so much on social media, online. It's been helping me to stay very present in my life because it gives me something to focus on without having a million distractions and things trying to fight for my attention. So I actually started to develop this journal SOULAR system more and more as I was battling my social media addiction and how it has affected my mental state, and trying to control my focus, just really ground back into myself. And this has been a great way for me. And it's been fun. And it always feels really good when you finish a journal because you know you've been consistent. You know you've been enjoying yourself. You know you've been putting in the work. And anytime journaling becomes a chore, like something you don't want to do, maybe it's time to take a step back or find another system or strategy that works best for you. Anyways, thank you so much for staying with me this whole video. Like, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. If you have any other journal questions, anything you want me to dive deeper into, please do let me know. Know how you grooving. Why do you like to journal? What inspired you? What does your journal SOULAR system look like, or ecosystem? Thank you so much. Take care. Love you. Meow meow. Meow meow meow.